Good morning, friends, and welcome back to VLC platform provided by MSBT Mumbai, YCMU Nasik, and KK Polytechnic Nasik. Myself, Satish Rikame, and our today's guest, Professor TB Kute sir. Sir is an assistant professor in Information Technology Department of Sandeep Foundation's Sandeep Institute of Technology and Research Center. Sir has 8 years of wide educational field experience. His area of interest and research is Linux development and system administration. His books named Bits and Bytes and Core Java Programming, a Practical Approach, are published recently at national level. Sir has conducted many workshops, hands-on training sessions, expert seminars and lectures on programming subjects such as C, Java, Linux operating system, CAM. He is a founder of Nasik Linux user group. He is also organizer of IIT Bombay spoken tutorials. Last year, his work in Linux was recognized by Linux Foundation USA. Computer and IT Association of Maharashtra also honored him for his remarkable work in Linux. He is a member of ACM, CSI, IST, SSI, LSI. Recently, sir has published an international paper in international journal. Also, sir has developed his own website, and sir has written more than 400 newspaper articles published in various newspapers. Our today's lecture is based on introduction to Java programming and classes, methods and objects. I request Professor TB Kute sir to deliver their best lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, friends. Today I am going to teach you about the Java programming. It's your subject of 5th semester. There are 2 lectures. In first lectures, Introduction to Java. All these topics of Introduction to the Java will be covered. Okay, let's see. Let's start from the first. We'll start with the first topic, that is features of the Java programming. There are basically Java is one of the language which is based on web application oriented. There are several features which are formed, which are given over here. Let's see one by one. First is Java is strictly object oriented programming language. So everything that we use in the Java is completely object oriented. Even your program is also is an object. Your data types are also object, or any method that you have to write, everything is an object. It's compiled and interpreted language. This is one of the programming language which is compiled and interpreted. So the Java program is compiled first and then it get interpreted, the second stage of compilation, then final execution that we get. It's a platform independent language, means the program written in Java we can execute on one platform, or the same execution will be done on another platform also. Means it's not dependent upon the operating systems. All operating system, in all kind of operating system, these programs can be executed. It's a portable. It does not depend upon the hardware which is used to create your computer system. It's completely independent of the hardware. Then it's robust and secure. Robust means it's healthy completely. It's means at runtime the exception handling operations are performed. Means it is created in such a fashion that though no programming errors, no exception may occur, or the provision is provided to handle such kind of exceptions. It's a dynamic, means Java compiler is created, but if you want to add your own libraries into it, it's possible. So it's a dynamic programming language. These are the basic features that the Java programming is contained. It's also architecture independent, means basically whenever any kind of microprocessor that you are using, any kind of computer architecture you are using, Java is not dependent upon that. It's architecture independent. Okay, these are the basic features of the Javas. Look at here, how Java works. As I told, Java is a completely platform independent language. Whatever the source code which are written, it's compiled by the Java compiler. It creates a byte code. Byte code is one of the code which is platform independent. It can be generated by Windows operating system. It can be generated by Linux operating system, by Mac OS, or by Solaris operating system. It can be executed on all kind of platform. All kind of platform. That's why that's how Java exactly works. So compiler can be different, but the interpreter is same. Okay, so execution of the Java program will be same on all kind of computer systems, all kind of operating systems also. The first one, Java compiler. Java compiler compiles the Java program. It checks for syntactical errors in the program. So Java program is a source code. It's converted into Java's compile. A Java compiler converts that into the byte code. Okay, it's given to the Java virtual machine. The second stage of execution of a Java program is Java interpreter. It takes byte code as the input. Java interpreter interprets that particular code byte by byte, and it generates the machine code which is executable, which is understood by your computer system, so your Java program get compiled. So this is two stage compilation process that Java programming performs. The structure of the Java program. Basic structure is every programmer needs to follow the basic structure of the Java program. It starts from the documentation sections, means the comment that you are going to write, then package statement, import statement, then interface statement, then after class definition is there, and inside the classes you are going to have the method declaration there. So every programmer follows that particular thing. Out of all these, two things are necessary. One is the class statement, and second is import statement. Remaining other things are not compulsory to write for a Java program. Okay, start with the topics of the Java programming here. Start with the first, that is Java tokens. Token means the smallest addressable part for your program. That is called as a token. So it can be identifier, it can be a keyword, it can be a literal, it can be an operator, or it can be a separator. Okay, let's see one by one how the Java program is formed. Basically, a Java program is a collection of the tokens. It's a collection of tokens, all alphabet, digits, special symbols, all they are used to create the tokens. Constant, variables, keywords, all these things are created with the help of alphabet, digit, then special symbols. Then your tokens form the instructions. So instructions are formed with the help of the tokens, and multiple set of instructions which are written in a sequential fashion, they forms a Java program. Okay, next topic, that is constant. Okay, as we already know, in mathematics constant is the thing which does not change. Even in programming language also constants are there. You might have studied C and C++. Okay, they also contain the constants. The constants are of three types in Java programming. One is numerical constant, character constant. Third one is your Boolean constants. Numerical constants are again divided into three parts: integer constant, floating point constants, and character constant are divided into two parts: character constant and string constant. Basically, string is collection of the character constants. Uh, okay, first the real constants. Real constants are containing two kind of the data types there. One is float and second double. In C++ also the same data types are available. Float means whenever you are going to store a value which contains a decimal point, so we can store it over there. Its minimum value is given here, 3.4 into e raised to minus 38, and maximum value is 3.4 into e raised to plus 38. The second data type, which is of float, basically float requires 4 bytes to store. Likewise, double is also there. Double require 8 bytes to store. This capacity is more than your float variables. The capacity is given. Its minimum value is 1.7 into e raised to minus 308, and maximum value is 1.7 into e raised to plus 308. Characters. You can use the characters in C and C++. So character constants are enclosed within the pair of single braces. Okay, single braces. So these are the character constant. Only a single character can be written in the single quotes. Okay, so a character is requiring 2 bytes to store in Java programming. So if you compare that with C and C++, we require 1 byte to store. In Java, we require 2 bytes to store. Okay, this is why, because Java uses Unicode system to store the character in their memory, but C and C++ uses the ASCII system to store the character into the memory. So ASCII requires 1 byte, Unicode requires 2 bytes to store into it. Okay, next constant is Boolean. Boolean, obviously, so Boolean is true or false. So generally the programming languages like C and C++, they don't have Boolean constant into it. So they cannot store 0 and 1 as an individual value in a single variable. Java allows it. We can store a single bit of information into a constant, into a variable also. It's called as a Boolean. There are two kind of value that it can store. The first value is true and second value is false. So we can declare a Boolean that can store true or false. So basically Boolean require one bit to store the information into the operators which are used to compare two things, like relational operators, less than, greater than. This kind of operators returns the value in Boolean fashion, true and false. Standard default values. Generally, in some of the cases, whenever you are declaring a variable, again we start with the C and C++. Whenever the C and C++ programs are written, so when you are declaring INTA, when you are declaring integer variables, so generally when these variables are declared locally, these variables contains the garbage values inside it. But it's not the case for Java programming language here. Whenever any variable is declared, it contains some default value given to it. For example, boolean contains default value as false, byte contains 0, long contains 0, integer contains 0, then your float contains 0.0, your double contains again 0.0, character contains a null character, and references, any object references are created which are obviously null. So there is no any garbage values given to the standard variable declaration in Java. Let's see that one. Next is scope of the variables. Generally, there are two kind of variables that a Java program may contain. One is instance variable, second is local variable. Java, as we have seen already, the structure of a Java program. Java program contains class. Class contains the method. Method is similar to a procedure or a function in C and C++. So we can declare the variables in class also. We can declare a variable in method also. Whenever the variables are declared in a class, they are called as instance variables, and whenever the variables are declared in a method or in a block, they are called as local variables. Okay, so depending upon the type of the variables, depending upon these particular types, instance variables and local variables, there are two kind of scope given to the variable declaration in Java. One is called as class scope, second is called as a block scope. Class scope, when the variables are there inside the class, they are the part of the class only, they are called as class scope. And when they are the part of the block, they are called as block scope. Means not only to the methods, but whenever any local block is created in a Java program and the variables are declared into it, they are called as, they are having a block scope there. And whenever they declared as a part of the class, they are called as class scope. Okay, so here's one example is given. Next, operators and expressions. Obviously, to create an expression in Java programming language, in any programming language, we need to declare, we need to use the operators. Operators perform the operations on operands. So operate this kind of operations are performed or expressions are created with the help of the operators. These are the type of the operators are there. Arithmetic operators, assignment operator, increment, decrement, relational operators, logical operators, conditional operators, and some special kind of operators are also created in Java programming languages. The first one, arithmetic operators. Basic arithmetic operations of addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, modular division, all these can be performed with the help of a Java program. In C and C++, whatever kind of operation that we create in arithmetic operators, same can be done with the help of the Java also. So almost all kind of arithmetic operators are containing two operands. Next is relational operators. Relational operators are basically used to compare two things. For example, if you want to compare two things for equality, so we can use equality operators. The first one, less than operator, it checks for whether first operand is less than second operand or not. Then greater than operator, then less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, then equal to, it's just for equality, two equal signs are given there, and not equal to. All operators are same as C and C++. Not equal to, it will check for whether the operands are not equal to each other or not. All these relational operators returns the value in true and false fashion only. So boolean value is written by relational operators. Next, logical operators. Logical operators are used to perform the logical operations. Logical operations means they are used to combine two conditions basically. The first one, logical and, two ands are given when you have to perform two operations, first operation and second operation. Okay, if both operations are same, then result of operation is true. Likewise, second is OR operator that we have seen in C and C++. Same operators are used in Java also. OR operator basically checks for, again it requires two different kind of expressions, two different kind of relational expressions given as input. If first or second expression is true, then it returns true. The third one is logical NOT. Logical NOT is used to invert the relations. It is used to invert the relation. If that operation is required to be inverted, then we require logical NOT there. Next category is increment and decrement. plus plus and minus minus. In C and C++ also these operators are available. Here also we are going to use this one. And all these operators are unary operators. Unary means there requires only one operand given there. Again, increment and decrement are containing two categories. One is post increment and post decrement, pre increment and pre decrement. When that operator is written before the operand, is called as pre. When it is written after the operand, it is called as post. It is used to increment and decrement the content of the variable by one only. Next category is conditional operator. This is the only ternary operator, means operator is having three operands. This is only ternary operator in all kind of programming languages. So Java is also supporting the thing. This is a pair of a question mark and a colon. It is used to construct the following expression. Look at this expression which is given here. Condition, then the question mark, then a colon, okay, expression 2, then colon, and then expression 3. When condition is true, then expression 2 is executed. When condition is false, expression 3 is executed. This is how this conditional operator perform the operations. Next category, bitwise operators. So basically bitwise operators are used to perform operation in bit by bit fashion. Okay, you might have studied the operations of logical and, logical or, logical not in digital techniques. All these operations are possible with the help of these operators which are given here. We have seen logical operators there. Logical operators contains two operations, and. It's logical and. So if a single and is given, it is bitwise and. It is used to perform the bitwise operation onto two expressions. So bitwise and, bitwise or, bitwise XOR, then ones complement, then left shift, right shift with zero fill. All these are these operations. All these kind of operators are available to perform logical operations in a Java programming language. Special kind of operators. The first special kind of operator is instance of. Okay, instance of. It's basically a keyword. It's a reserved word in Java programming language. So whenever any object name, whenever you have to find whether this object is created for that particular class or not. Look at the example given there. Maharashtra instance of India. Maharashtra is the name of the object. India is the name of the class. An instance of operator is written in between them. When Maharashtra object is created by the class India, then it returns true. If it is not the object of class India, then it returns false. This is how the instance of operator is created. Second special kind of operator is dot operator. So dot operator is basically used with the help of the class and method. It is used to connect the class and the methods. It is used to access the instance variable as well as the method of the class using the objects. Look at the example which is given there. Company.salary. So salary is a method of this particular object. Companies, it contains a method salary. Second example given, company.employee. So employee is the name of the variable, company is the name of the object. So that employee is accessed from the object company. This is how the dot operator is used. Now operator part is finished. We'll look at the properties of the operators. There are two different properties that operator is containing: precedence and associativity. Obviously all programming language contain the same precedence and associativity. When any expression contains the multiple operations combined all together, so which operation that your programming language must perform first, that will be decided by the precedence of the operators. And associativity, now many things it may happen that when one expression contains the associativity precedence of two operators same, in that cases what to do? In these cases associativity is considered. Associativity means from which direction to which direction the operations are required to be performed. That is associativity. Okay, look at this the table which is given over here. It's contains precedence as well as the associativity of the operators. There are a lot of operators, all they are categorized according to precedence and associativity. The member function selection, this just we have seen that. The dot operator, which contains highest precedence given. Wherever the dot operator is used, that expression is solved first and then remaining others. Like function call, array element, they are all containing the same precedence given over here. All they are containing the same associativity, that is left to right. Okay, same way, second precedence is given to post increment and post decrement operation there, which is plus plus and minus minus. Then pre increment and pre decrement, unary plus, unary minus, bitwise complement, boolean, not. Fourth precedence is given to new operator, then typecasting operators. Then fifth is given to all multiplication and division operations. Sixth is given to addition and subtraction operations. Basically, in mathematical rule also it contains the precedence is given higher to multiplication and division operations, and then addition and subtraction are containing the precedence there. Eighth one is given to the shift operators. All shift operators, left shift and right shift operators are containing the seventh precedence. Eighth one is given to all relational operators, less than, greater than, all they are containing the eighth precedence. Then ninth one is given to equality check, equal to, not equal to, like that. For reference equality also, inequality also, these are used. Then tenth one is given to boolean and bitwise and. Okay, boolean and bitwise and, all they are containing the tenth precedence. Then 11 number is given to XOR operations. All XOR operations are containing 11 number of precedence. Then 12 is given to OR operations. Then 13 to conditional AND. Then 14th conditional OR. Then 15 is conditional ternary operators, and 16th is given to assignment operators. Assignment operator is one of the category. It's containing two operators combined together. Plus equal to, minus equal to, divide equal to, multiplication equal to, like that. So these two operations are combined to form an expression. So this is what precedent and associativity is containing. Look at the last operator which is given there, assignment operators, which are containing the associativity from right to left, and above all they are containing the associativity from left to right. So when the expression is containing the same precedence given to multiple operators, in that cases associativity is considered. So in these cases, when any operators return at the left side, it will be solved first and then to the right side, like that. That is what associativity is there. Next topic is automatic type conversion. When any expression, when you are creating in Java programming language or any other programming languages, it may contain the variable of different types, integer plus float, or byte plus character. Like this kind of expressions can be there. In these cases, what kind of value your expression must generate, that will be decided by the compiler. That's called automatic type conversion. For example, when you are having long value, long integer and integer value in an expression, long into integer, in these cases always the value generated by the expression will be given to highest data type, that is long. Now in this table, this automatic type conversion is provided. Character, byte, short and integer. When character, byte, short and integer values are there in any expression of the Java programming language, they always generate integer as a return type, integer value as a return type. If float and long are there, in that cases float is generated. In double and float is there, double is generated, like that. So precedence is always given to the highest data type. The expression which contains the multiple data types, whichever is highest, means the data type which contains maximum amount of the space to store into computer's memory, that type of the value will be generated by Java expressions. Type promotion rules. Type promotion rules are, okay, whatever the table that you have seen in the previous slide, same, that type promotion rules are there. All short, character and byte values are converted to integer. Likewise, when long is there, when the long expressions is the highest one, then it's converted to long. When float is the highest one, converted to float. When the double is the highest one, then it's converted to double. These are the type promotion rules that every expression in the Java programming language follows. Next is typecasting. Typecasting is feature of all kind of programming languages. Obviously, whenever you have to temporarily convert any particular data type into another data type, in that cases typecasting is used. Typecasting is one of the operator, that is, we are having the round brackets. Round brackets are acting as a typecasting operators. So if automatic type conversion rules are already followed, means they are already there, they are following the highest data type conversion there. But when we don't require that things, we have to use the values into lowest data type. In that cases, typecasting can be used. Okay, look at the expression which is given over here. The type of expression which is called as narrowing the conversion. It takes this particular form on the presentation which is provided here. The target value is given in the round brackets, and in front of that we have to specify the data type, a variable, any particular variable. That variable will be temporarily converted into another data type for that expression only, for that particular expression only. So for that particular expression, when it's converted and then expression is generating a value, after the expression execution, your original data type of the variable will be kept as it is. So typecasting is temporarily done by the typecasting operators. Look at the example which is given over here. B is equal to byte val. This one, B is equal to byte val. So val is declared as integer and it's temporarily converted into byte to put that value into variable B. Okay, so this is how the typecasting operations perform the operations. It will, this particular program will print 163 as the output. Next is symbolic constants. Symbolic constants, in C and C plus also symbolic constants are available. Basically symbolic constants, they are containing a constant value. The value given to the variable, you cannot change it. That's called as symbolic constants. In C and C plus plus, hash define is used. If you are writing hash define and then the variable name and then the value will be given to that variable, but it cannot be changed. If you want to achieve the same thing in Java programming language, we can use the keyword final. Okay, look at the value as example given over here. Final double pi is equal to 3.145. So here in this case, this variable pi, it will contain this value fixed 3.145. So you cannot change it afterwards. You can use that value in the expression, but you cannot change by any means. You cannot increment it, you cannot decrement it. This is called as a symbolic constant of the Java programming languages. In many cases, when you require to create a constant in Java, we may use this. Okay, this is what the basic features of the Java programming are. Now let's start with some programming features, that is decision making and looping statements. Obviously all kind of programming language contains that. In C and C++, whatever the syntax which are followed, same syntax will be followed by the Java also. Some syntactical differences are there, so very small differences are there. We'll look into that, because C and C are basically used to create the Java compiler. That's why all these features are there. They are inherited in the Java compilers also. Decision making and looping statements are if statement, if else, then switch case statement, and conditional operator statements. The first one is if statement. If it contains this particular syntax, if condition and then the statement is written, or we can write if in bracket conditions and then multiple statements are written. Okay, if only one statement you have to execute after the if, then we can exclude this particular curly braces. And if condition may contains any condition, like if you're going to check the relation between two variables, if A is greater than B, that's a condition. If that condition is true, then statements are executed which are written after the if. Okay, this is a flow chart of if statement. When condition is true, the statement which are written after the if are executed. When it is false, the statement written after the if, which are written after the if, they are executed. Okay, when it is false. So this is how the if statement perform the operation. Look at the example which is given here. If number is less than 0, then it print the number is negative. Okay, number is less than 0, it's a condition. If that condition is true, it returns true. It is false, it returns false. So obviously the boolean values are written by these particular expressions. Okay, when this is true, its number is negative. Likewise, we can use the logical operators also. Look at the second example. If ch is greater than a and ch is less than z, it is an uppercase letter. Okay, and means the condition, both condition must be true. That is and operators which can use in a condition. Then the third expression, sale price is greater than cost price, so it prints you made a profit. This is how the conditions are created. These conditions are used in the if statement. So multiple conditions can be combined, or a single condition can also be there. Second form of the if is nested if. Nested means if condition 1, again if that condition is true, again if condition 2, again if that condition is true, we can have if condition 3. So multiple kind of conditions we can combine in a nested if. So they can be combined all together with one by one. If multiple if can be created. So it's called as a nested if. Second form of the nested if is also there. If condition 1 is true, then if condition 2 is true, then it will go to statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 execution there. It's called as a nested if. Then third form of the if is if else. Okay, here we have seen only for the true. Okay, if condition is true, then it execute the statements. And if what if the condition is false, then we can write a else there, else part. Okay, look at the syntax which is given over here. If condition, the statement for condition is true, else statement for the condition is false, and statement after the block. If the condition is true, the statement which are written in the if block, they are executed, else the condition, the statements which are written inside the else will be executed when the condition is false. This is how the if else statements are there. Okay, so if in graphical format, how can look how we can look that particular decision making statement there. If else, now if condition is true, statement under the if are executed. If it is false, statement under the else are executed. And means either if or else they will be executed. It is compulsory. Whatever the statement written in if or else, they will be executed depending upon the condition which is written in front of the if. Okay, nested if else. Nested if else also possible. We can write if condition, again if condition, else again condition, means again after else we can write if condition, like that. So multiple combinations of if else can be generated. Okay, look at this. If condition 1, statement 1, then again if condition 2, statement 2, statement 3, again in else statement 4, statement 5, again else of the outer if is there at the end for statement 6. Okay, statement after the if else are there. This else is for this particular if. Okay, first if, the condition 1 if is there, then else statement 6, statement after the if else will be executed. This is how the nested if else structure can be created. Next form of the if else is if else ladder. If else ladder. If else ladder, if condition then statement, else condition then statement, else if again condition then statement, again else. Multiple different conditions can be combined in this particular fashion. This is called as else if ladder or if else ladder. Look at the example how beneficial this particular if else ladder is there. If we have to check the class or the grade of the marks which are obtained by the students, we can create an if else ladder there. If marks are greater than equal to 75, then grade is equal to distinction, else marks is greater than 60, then first class, else marks are greater than 50, then second class, if marks are greater than 40, then first class, and if all or these conditions are not matched, so at end we will have that else, that is fail. So grade is equal to fail. This is how the else if ladder can be created in a Java program. Okay, next, that is switch statement for decision making. So switch statement is again similar to C and C++ programming statements. Switch statements, whenever you have to make the choice from a menu selections, in that case these switch statements are used. Generally we'll have the same syntax that is there in the C and C++. Switch, and in round brackets we'll have a variable name, and inside it the cases will be there, case 1, case 2, case 3, multiple cases can be created, and at the end the default statement will be there and it's completed. So 3 keywords are there: switch, case and default. These 3 keywords are used to form the switch case statements. Okay, look at the example, or look at the syntax which are given over here. Switch, then variable, then case, we will have value 1, value 2, multiple values can be there, and at the end default which is used. So when variable matches the value 1, wherever this variable which are given in a switch which matches the value which is given in front of the case, if they are matched, then statements in front of that case will be executed. Okay, again if matched with value 2, then statement after the value 2 will be executed. And if it is not matched with any of the values given in the cases, then default block will be executed. And remember, one important thing is there: every case statement, every case block is ended by a break. For case 1 also I have written a break there, for case 2 also the break is given. Default is not containing a break, remember, because default is always written at the end of the switch statement there. Not compulsory to write the default at the end, but it's not containing a break also. If you are not writing a break over here, In these cases, if statement 1 is executed, automatically your program control will transfer to execute statement 2 also if break is not there. So basically break is used to jump out of the switch. Okay, and the statement which is written at the statement out, when switch is completed, then it will execute the statement which are written after the switch case. This how the switch case statement executes. The graphical representation in a flowchart which is shown over here. Variable, your program will check for the value of the variable. That value is value 1, statement 1 are executed and it will go out of it. If value 2 is there, statement 1 will be executed which are given after the value 2, and then it will go statement out. Likewise, multiple cases are there. There is no any limit given to the case statement. So any number of case statement can be written. If your variable is not matching with the value of any case, then default block will be executed at the end. Look at the example. It's a very simple example provided. Same can be applicable in C and C++ also. Switch x, then case 1, it will check the value of x and 1. Here the value x is given, then 1. If value of x is 1, then it will print 1 and break. If value of x is 2, it will print 2 and then break. And if it is not matching with 1 and 2, then default statement will be executed. Okay, number not correct, like this. So if you want to create a program which is menu based, the program is menu based. In these cases, the menu selection operation can be performed by a switch statements. Next, while loop. Now we look at the looping structures. So loop control structures which are created in a Java programming language. The most important loop is while loop. So 3 loop structures are there basically: while loop, do while loop, and the third one is for loop. Even in C and C+ also contain the same loops. Almost syntactical differences are not there in while and do while loop. The first is while loop. Look at the syntax which is given for the while loop. Above the while loop, we'll have initialization. Initialization statements are given. Whatever the variable that you want to initialize, all they will be above the while. Then while is a keyword which is used to create a loop, and then condition, and then within the curly braces the body of the loop is given. Generally, what exactly a loop is? Whenever you have to execute the multiple number of statements for multiple number of times, or a single statement for multiple number of times, if you want to execute that by changing the value of the variables or without changing the value of variables, we have to create a loop control structures. So these statements that you want to execute for multiple times, they will be enclosed within a loop, and then loop will be written. In while loop also, when while and condition is there, what's the condition? Condition is used for termination of the loop. Basically, if that condition is true, your program control will go inside the loop and it will execute that loop continuously. Again, once it is executed, it will go to check the condition again. If it is true, then also it again execute the body of the loop. Okay, so what if you want to create a loop, what we need to do? We have to write such a condition in the program which will terminate the program in some conditions. Its condition is given. So body of the loop, it will contain any statements, increment, decrement also, printing statements, input, output statement, anything that you can write over there. Look at the example of the while loop there. Int I is equal to 0, I have written there. Int I is equal to 0. Then while I is less than 10, system.out.println I love Java, and then I++ is given, and your program is completed. It's a very basic loop created there. I have initialized value of I is equal to 0 while I is less than 10. Okay, obviously for the first time the condition which is given there, I is less than 10, it is true. So when condition is true, your program control will transfer inside the loop. It will go inside the loop. System.out.println I love Java, it will print there. Then after I am changing the value of I++. So value of I was 0 previously, it will be incremented by 1. This is the post increment that I have used to increment the value of I. It will increment this particular value and I will become 1. Then again your loop will go to check the condition if it is true or not. When I is 1, obviously next time also condition is true. So 10 number of times this particular loop will be executed. At the end, when value of I becomes 10, value of I becomes 10, in that cases condition will become false, your loop will be terminated. So for 10 number of times, the statement which is given in system.out.println, that is I love Java, that will be printed onto the screen. This is how the while loop perform the operations. Okay, look at the flow chart of the while loop there, how the while loop actually perform the operations. First, initialization section is always outside of the while loop. First initialization, then condition is checked, whatever the condition. If it is true, then body of the loop will be executed, and then it will go to condition again. It's a property of the loop. When body of the loop is executed, it will go to the condition. If it is true, again body of the loop is executed. If it is false, then it will go to the loop. It will go to the statement which are written after the loop. So loop is terminated. This is called a termination of the loop when condition is false. This is how the while loop is executed. The second one is do while loop. There is a property of while loop. It's called as a pre-test loop. So before